Okay, today is August 8th, 2023, and this is my trade recap. Coming into the morning, I didn't have proper sleep again. Went to bed on time, fell asleep on time, but failed to stay asleep. And I woke up at around 4, so about a 5-hour sleep, 4 hour, 30 minutes approximately. And I think the main reason for that is because I ate a little late last night, and that's something that has affected me in the past, not so much recently, but I guess it's starting to affect me again. So to prevent that from happening again, I won't eat late past 6 p.m. today, and that should help. That should help a lot. So coming into the morning, as soon as I woke up, I checked my phone, and I saw a potential play that was happening on the 4 hour on SPY, and it was a 4 hour continuation short after a fail follow through to the upside on the hour. So the play that I was looking was this was an invalid long, a very low probability of follow through, but this is an area where you can clearly see where longs might have a reason to enter here, where it's been holding this trend line here, and it had a strong close yesterday, and this is an area where you can potentially buy the pullback for that continuation to the upside. But there is too much overhead supply for this to be a really good setup. And where the short-term trend is still to the downside, you can't really, you can buy it, but you have to be very scalpy with it. And in hindsight, this would have given a 1-to-1, 1-to-1.5. So you can definitely scalp it, but you should never be turning this trade into a loser. And I was aware of that, so I wasn't really watching this for a long side play. I was watching to see what it does on the long side play, and it rejected harshly. And if it rejects harshly, I was looking at this key level to break for 4520 level for that continuation short. However, it just pulled back nonstop and broke that level, and in that case, you have to move that trigger point down a little bit to 4519.5. That's the new trigger point. And then the next time it actually has a proper bounce, rejects off key fib levels, and then has that continuation move lower, the next break of this 4519 is the valid trigger short. So that's the area that I was looking for that continuation. But I was still in bed trying to go back to sleep. So I was just watching what it does, but I wasn't gonna get up and pull the trigger. I was just watching from the sidelines, and it did have that initial move down, and it came back, retested the trigger point, and failed to continue higher. There was no buying pressure here at all. So you can tell that longs are on the wrong side of the move here, and sellers are selling into the pops here. So in that case, the next continuation short becomes valid, and that would have been right over here at this 4516.5 level. So if I were to play this, I would have gotten short right here, risking off of this 4525 level, so 2 contracts. And then I wouldn't have locked in any profits here because it's only 2 contracts and the risk reward doesn't make any sense. So I'd be looking for a place to add full size for a tighter risk. So initially the risk would have been off this level, shorting here. But once it rejects off this level and retests this bear flag, makes this lower high and confirms breaks that bear flag, this is an area where you can add full size here. Now moving your stop tighter to this level. So now you would be taking another 2 contracts, so 4 contracts max, risking off this level for about a $50 loss, or maybe 3 contracts for about a $50 loss. So you would have 5 contracts total, and then you could take profits into the retest of this trend line here. But I missed that trade completely. I was just paper trading it in my head. But once this trade actually played out, and I was like, fuck, I really missed a good play here. I don't know why I didn't get up off the bed. I obviously can't go back to sleep anyways. I should have just pulled the trigger here. So that's when I got up and started looking at, turned on my computer and started looking at this this chart more closely. And the next level I saw was the only trade that I took, and that was at, okay, so this trend line here has been testing and holding very well to the downside here, where it's kind of holding this channel, failed to follow through to the upside, and now it's going to retest this channel here. Um, so on the first retest, it breaks premature, and you just extend that flag line, and now it's most likely going to retest those levels and continue to hold until, and that's the only areas where buyers are going to be present. And the buyers really need to panic out of this, is going to start panicking out of this once it confirms to break and no buying pressure really comes in. So I was aware of that, and I was looking at these trendline retests to see if buyers are going to be present here, if they're going to be stepping in. So the first area I saw for a potential short was at this 4513.75 level break right here with a very tight risk, but I decided to skip that trade. And main reason for skip on that one is because um, I didn't really think there was enough buyers stuck on the wrong side of the move here, but in hindsight I was wrong. But it's a good skip. That's 100% a skip that you have to do every single time. So a very good job on skipping that one right here. There's not enough confirmation, but once you skip this one and you see this much selling pressure come in, and it does confirm that there's enough sellers in this still, then now on the next retest or next bounce for continuation, you can potentially scalp the continuation. So I got very lucky here where it did have a bounce here. Not much volume came in on this bounce too, so that's worth taking a note of. And it retests this bull flag level here, where once, twice, three times, tests again and rejects. So this is an area where I took a short right here on this candle, I believe, for a starter short right here, risking off of 4-5-15 level. So I believe I have 5 contracts. It would have been about a $50 risk. And then I believe it was 4 contracts or 5 contracts. So I'll double check. But that's where I took the initial short. And then once it retests fully on that flag line, and then no buying pressure comes in, on this candle here is where I took a full size ad right here, because now it makes sense to move your risk to this level instead of keeping it wide off this level, because once it curls up and breaks this flag line, that's an area where aggressive shorts may need to stop out, and potentially longs may step in, and enough volume will come in to probably stop you out of this level anyways. So it makes no sense to be using this wide risk when you could be taking a bigger size, risking tighter. So this stop no longer made sense to take, and I kept a tighter stop here, taking a more aggressive short here for full size position. And then the next retest of this trend line is where I took a 1-to-1 risk-free scale, about 3 contracts, and then I had another 3 contracts at break even and another 3 contracts at this 4-5-14 level. So keeping risk as #1 priority, understanding you have lack of sleep today, and then locking in the rest into once this trend line failed to hold, no buying pressure really stepped in here. Little bit, I was watching the book map, but it was really no continuation to the upside, no bounce or anything, where buyers are really exhausting here. And I knew that the next crack of this level right here would really bring in enough selling pressure to meet the key demand zone that I was looking at. The target right at 4508.5 level is where I took all my profits. So on TradeZilla is this trade here, about a 1 to 2.5 R trade. It was a short on this bounce, and then add on this candle. So I guess it was an add on this. It wasn't an add on this candle. It was actually an add on this candle, which is not the best, to be honest. Yeah, this candle add right here at this 4-5-13 break would have been much better, but I took a late add there. So that could be worked on. I think even better add would have been at the break of this. If you're gonna take an add this low right here and ruin your average, then much better add would be on this 4-5-12 break right here on the confirmation. But regardless, good executions on your exits, understanding that You're you have lack of sleep, and risk priority is number one. Risk management is number one priority. Okay, so this is my executions here. Take the short into the bounce, add into tighter. Once the risk becomes valid, you can take a tighter risk add right here. Look lock in into the first predictable wash for that risk-free scale, and then into 1 to 2 and that key demand zone. So the reasons not to take this trade was because it did not give longs any reason to stop out of the trade first. So if you look at the 15-minute here, it's a little bit extended still. So a much better play would have been if right here when I was watching it right here, if it can blow past above that level first. So on the 15, if it looks like this and then comes back, this would have been picture perfect trade. It would have been A plus setup, and I would have taken that trade with much more confidence than this one, and I would have trailed it for much longer, and I wouldn't have had to sit through all this consolidation or bouncing. It would have just made that straight move to that demand zone. It's very, very high probability of follow through here like that, but because it's setting up the way it's set up, you need to be very patient with it and let the chart develop and give you kind of clever ways to add full size and scalp into the wash. And another reason is because I don't have that much data on this time of day. But so far, same signals seem to be working. So something I need to look more into. But easiest 1% coming into today was 8 hours of sleep and 30-minute meditation. I'm sorry to think this isn't the easiest 1% because I've been failing to follow through with it multiple days in a row. That could also be showing my early signs of my lack of discipline, and that's something that clearly needs to be worked on. And also I'm aware that I told myself I wasn't going to, and my accountability partner, that I wasn't going to trade today if I didn't get the proper amount of sleep, but I still pulled the trigger. So that's also showing first signs of me turning my switch back from process to profits. So this is where it can get very dangerous, where I start to care too much about the money rather than the process, and that's when making money becomes impossible, and I need to be aware of that. So I really do need to start fixing my sleep, not just because sleep is very, very important to your trading, but also because it is showing signs of my lack of discipline, and my focus starting to shift back to the money, and that could be detrimental to my trading. So combination of lack of sleep plus that is a recipe for disaster. So I need to really, really start to prioritize this. So going into tomorrow, same thing, easiest 1%. Today I'm not going to eat past 6 o'clock. I have to remember that, and try to be in bed by 10 o'clock and meditate. And the punishment for me for today, so if you look at the daily chart, there's a lot of room to the downside here, and today could be a day where it has a deeper pullback, and high probability short side continuation plays. But my punishment for me today is I'm gonna take some modafinil and some caffeine and just get some more studying done, more data that I haven't been able to track over the weekend because of my busy schedule, and just not even watch this on the sidelines, but just I won't be able to participate in this play, and that's my punishment because I know if I take modafinil and I know if I'm over stimulated on caffeine, I know for a fact I cannot trade. So I'm just gonna put myself in a position where I won't be able to trade, and I know that for a fact, and just watch this play out on the sidelines and not be able to participate in it, and that will be my punishment for the day. If you really want to be able to participate in these moves, like today is a big, it looks so good on the daily chart, but you did it to yourself. You didn't get proper sleep, so there's no way you can take any more trades today. All right, that's it. Thanks.